This is Andres at the Baking Steel Test Kitchen. Welcome to pizza making with the broiler. I'm calling it this, the broiler method. And we've done a lot of different trials and tribulations with our steel. In fact, originally when we had the baking steel, the little booklet that we sent along with the steel said to put the steel on the bottom rack of the oven. And that's how we made pizzas for the first probably year or two, until we started doing more testing, getting more feedback from people using our steels. And we decided to move the steel to the top rack of your oven. You can see here, top rack steel, which we mean about 6 inches from the broiler. And we'll get some close-ups soon of that. You need to leave yourself enough room to launch your pie in the oven. We're fortunate with these beautiful monogram ovens that the racks slide out, so we can get it really tight. But even with that, we still like to be about 6 inches from the top, because the broiler, if you're not using a timer and you have experience there, you can burn pizzas. And believe me, I've burned a bunch. Mostly it's Craig who's burning them, not me, but you need to use a timer, which, I don't know where my timer is. Seriously, right here. One of these things. Keep it handy, especially with the broiler in today's class. We've got 2 different oven types here. We have a gas, monogram gas oven here, and we have electric. And it's 2 different styles for your home. And we'll talk about the gas, but we're going to make it on the electric, because the electric is a little bit more tricky and finicky. The gas, for the most part, when I preheat my baking steel for 1 hour, and when I switch that oven to broil, which we'll test in a little bit, it goes on pretty fast. Whereas the electric, we found, are really quirky. Meaning if I blast my oven at 500 for a preheat, and some of these even go to 550 degrees Fahrenheit, it's almost too hot. In other words, when I switch it to broil, the oven will need to cool down before the broiler kicks in. And we found that to be a real nuisance when making pizza. And there's kitchen hacks, you can Google this and find out, find some different hacks to reduce the heat, like keep the door open cracked. What we have found recently, what we've been doing over the last year is, and we painfully learned this lesson, we were doing a big video session one day. Our ovens were way too hot. I launched a pizza in thinking I could just turn the broiler on, and it didn't kick in for like, 10 minutes? And anyway, it was not the style that I was doing. Long story short, we learned something that day. We learned that if we preheat our oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, it's not too hot, that when we switch it over to broil, the broiler tends to kick on a lot faster, which is what we're gonna do today. All right? That was long-winded. So I'm gonna make a pizza here. I'm gonna show you how I do it, then we'll get to some questions. All right? How do you sound, Chef? Good? Let's rock and roll. So if you guys have been with us, we'll go through all the steps. My dough has been removed from the fridge. I'm using these dough trays. This is awesome. You can, we'll link to these, but you make smaller versions that fit in your home oven. I need a pizza peel. The dough has been removed this time of year, like 2 or 3 hours before the bake. I need to relax those glutens inside the dough. We want the dough to get room temperature. So when we do that, remove it. About an hour before this class, I turn the oven on. 450 degrees Fahrenheit with convection for a good hour for that heat to absorb inside the steel. So we're there. My first thing before I grab my dough, I'm gonna lube up my peel. And how I do that is I take the flour, and you guys can see here, I post it on, and I take a little semolina flour. If you've been following us, we say no cornmeal, please, no cornmeal. And the reason being is cornmeal, 1, it's corn. I don't like corn on the bottom of my pizza. But 2, it tends to burn a little bit too fast on the hot steel. So a little semolina flour and flour. Those are my ball bearings. You can see them on here. I lightly dust it. The better I get, the less I'm going to use. But for now, you can see I've got a pretty good amount of flour on here. Those are my ball bearings. Put it aside. Take a deep breath. All right, we're gonna make pizza. We got this. All right, now my dough, I'm gonna flour up my workstation. We might want to tilt that screen down a little bit. Yeah, flour up my workstation, okay? And I'm using wood here. I'm gonna take my dough. These are about 250 gram dough balls, okay? I'm gonna place them right down in the flour. Oh. And I'm gonna make sure this is not gonna stick. And I just kind of flip it over a couple of times, okay? And now I know it's not gonna stick to the table. I've got my flour done. I'm gonna pause here and jump into sauce because I didn't make my sauce ahead of time purposefully so I can show everybody how we do it. So put my dough aside. Let's talk tomatoes. This is our tomato sauce. Anybody who makes pizza and this is the first time following us, we're gonna throw away our grandmother's recipe. Sorry, Grandma, but sorry, we're gonna discard that for pizza making. And we're gonna find our favorite can of tomatoes. Today we're using crushed, organic, Bianco di Napoli tomatoes. These are already crushed. And all I'm gonna do, drum roll please, I'm gonna open up the can and I'm gonna add sea salt. Very skillfully, right? I got my can open. And now I'm gonna add about 10 grams of sea salt. Again, this measurement isn't critical. If you like salt, add a little bit more. If you don't, add less. 10 grams go in. Take a spatula, GIR. Shout out to my friends at GIR. These are awesome, by the way. And just give it a little mix. That is my tomato sauce. Careful now, I spilled a little bit here. Scrape it up, because you don't want any moisture underneath your dough. Zamboni that out of the way, okay? Now, let's go back to the dough. We got our sauce ready. So it goes back into the flour. It's not gonna stick. And now I'm gonna do is lightly just press into this dough. And this is a 4-day dough, so it's really soft and supple. It feels like a cloud in my hands. I might pick it up a little bit, make sure it's not sticking. And I press it out into a disc about 5 or 6 inches wide. Then what I'm gonna do is just pick it up on the back of my knuckles. I'm gonna give it a little tug and I'm gonna let gravity do all of the work. So I just turn and give it a little shake. Turn, give it a little shake. You can see this starting to, it's starting to be round. I'm not pressing out those air bubbles. I'm gently stretching it around and around. And I'm gonna be patient, but you can see it's starting to grow. When it gets to be about 10 or 11 inches, I know that's about the size I'm making here. I'm gonna be very happily place that onto my pizza peel. Okay? You guys can see that. It's gorgeous, right? And now let's make a pizza. So before I do sauce, before I do cheese, I'm gonna give this dough a little bit of a shake, back and forth. And it should slide like a hockey puck. If it does not slide like a hockey puck, time out, take some flour, throw it underneath that corner that is stuck, okay? And then try it again. Make sure it slides like a puck. It is, it's still sliding. So I'm confident now that my pizza is going, and at this point I can kind of give it a little stretch again if I want. I might be able to pinch these edges here, and what I like about when I do this is it gives the edges a little bit of texture, right? Each bite's gonna be a little bit unique, because we're making artisan pizza here. This isn't your Papa John's, right? We got this incredible 4-day dough made with organic flours. This is gonna be a totally unique pizza. We got crushed organic tomatoes. It's just beautiful. It's still shaking. I'm confident now that I can sauce my pizza. And again, our mantra is less is more. So I pick my sauce, spoon it in the middle. Remember, there's a lot of moisture in sauce. The more I use, it's gonna seep through this dough and this dough will not cook well. So less is more. You can see I don't have a ton of sauce on there, right? Not a ton. And what I'm gonna do next, before I do cheese, I'm gonna give it a little shake. It's still sliding like a puck. Really critical. Okay, now, the broiler method. Because I'm almost done topping my pizza, I'm gonna go to my oven and switch it to broil. You guys wanna watch this? This is huge. Switch it over the dial. And I know, because I've made pizzas in this oven, hundreds of times, I'm gonna give that broiler about 2 minutes and it should kick on, ready to launch this pizza. And I'm gonna give myself another check. Intuitively, I know the more I do this, the more confident I'm gonna have going into the oven, okay? Still loose. Now, flavor. We've got, I'm gonna throw some oregano down, right on top of my sauce, kind of hide it underneath. We've got me the shredder, small one. A little oregano. Now I'm going to take some Parmesan Reggiano. Again, I'm layering a little bit of flavor in, okay? Just take this and just grate it on. You can smell it. It smells amazing. All right, so before I add my next cheese, I'm gonna give it a little shake again. It's still loose like a hockey puck. It's still sliding, so I'm still good to go, all right? And now for the cheese, and if you followed us long enough, we know we always shred our own cheese, and yes, I am bringing out the Wonder Shredder. 1929, I don't think it's been cleaned since then either. 100 years old, basically, right? I'm gonna grate my cheese right onto my pizza. And the reason, I'm sure you guys all know this now, but the reason we shred our own cheese is because these individual shreds, when we buy it pre-shredded, are coated with starch. And the starch tends to brown too soon. So we shred it ourselves to eliminate that. And now what we're gonna do is we're ready for the oven. So the broiler's probably on. One last final shake. Take a deep breath. Back of the peel to the back of the steel. Ready to go? And we'll launch this thing in. My broiler is on, by the way. 2 minutes in. Back of my peel to the back of the steel, and just kind of shake it off like a puck. Boom. Close your oven up. Grab your timer. I'm using 2 minutes as my checkpoint. That way, if I get into a conversation, I know this timer will go off and I won't burn it. So if I left this timer on for, say, 4 minutes and I didn't check my pizza, I'm gonna burn the living you-know-what out of that dough. This is rated G for the kids to watch. All those kid pizza makers at home, it's gonna get better and better. Watch. 2 minutes, boom. Ready to go. Now, if I was going to make pizza in this gas oven, that broiler is really, it doesn't have the same sensitivities. I could literally turn that broiler on and it's going to kick in. Let's try it. Let's see how long it takes. I'm going to actually time it. I'm going to go to broil, high. There's 2 settings on the broiler. There's broiler high and broiler low. Some might even have medium. I go full tilt all the time on high. And so I've got that on. Let's see how long it takes to kick in. We're going to time it. I'm timing now, guys. Tell me when it kicks in. Ho-hum. Sometimes, some ovens are going to go on like instantaneously, like especially the older ovens. This is the monogram. The door's open. It's on. It's on. So it took about 17 seconds to kick in, which is pretty fast. So be mindful of that. If you're at home, if you have a gas oven, that broiler doesn't kick in. If you have electric, try to figure out the rhythm of the oven. So it's been almost 2 minutes. Ready to go in? So I'm gonna go inside the oven and take a peek. It's been almost 2 minutes. Ooh, look at those bubbles. Amazing. Incredible. Underneath is kind of almost done, right? It's beautiful. I'm going to turn my broiler off. And I'll go to 500 at this point. I want as much heat as possible. I'm using just one steel. Turn the oven. The broiler's back off now. I'll cook this for 2 minutes without the broiler. And we'll be done with this pizza. It's gonna be beautiful. We'll top it with some more palm reg. We'll top it with maybe some basil if you like it. The undercrust is gonna be cooked just unbelievably well. And tomatoes are gonna taste this shine in your mouth. It's gonna be incredible. Any questions, you guys? Let's get to them now.
Talk more about your GE monogram oven.
Ooh, let's talk more about the ovens. So these are monogram ovens. They're amazing. And I'm not saying that because they're our partner, they're awesome. These are electric, and I love these French doors, by the way. They do come in handy, where they open. Bottom one has the normal oven door, and this is a monogram 6-burner range. A couple of things I love about this gas range is every single burner has the same BTUs. They're all equal. So I can make, everything's the same. Unlike my home oven, I've got an older oven, and all my burners are different sizes. And I find I can only make my eggs, which I like at a low temp on one of the burners, versus here, every burner is the same and equal, which is awesome. Anybody else? As our pizza, you can smell that. Oh, it's amazing.
How high from the broiler?
Oh, how high from the broiler? I like it to be about 6 or 7 inches. That's ideal. If it's too close, even if your racks slide out, it's funny. You have to really bird dog it then. It's almost too hot for the steel and the pizza. But it can be done. But ideally about 6 or 7 inches. Just enough room to leave yourself so you can launch it in and out of the oven. More dough, more pizza. That's our 4 minute style. It's about a 4-minute pizza. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, baby. Oh man, that looks amazing. See that? Pull it out of here. Underneath. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Get over that. You guys can see this, but underneath is cooked awesome, right? Beautiful, right? It's crispy. It's hot. I'm gonna pick this up for you guys. You can see how crispy that is underneath. Just awesome, hard. I got some really nice color on top. Some people might think it's too much char. I think it's just right. I like it. And now the finishing touches. We call this the finishing station. I think Tony Gimignani said it best. This is where the magic happens. I just made that up. Sorry, Tony. I'm gonna grate a little bit more cheese. I had it in my hand. I was looking for this. You believe that? It's like looking, where are my glasses? Anybody know where my glasses are? Here we go. Cheese it up. Basil. It's not a must, but it's really nice to have some basil on there. If you're gonna take pictures, daylight, beautiful, right? If you want to take pictures of it. You guys can see this. Isn't that awesome? You want to see me slice this? Yeah? All right, let's slice it. Get close up to that. All right, so now for the slice job. Again, underneath is just beautiful. It smells incredible. Listen to that sound. I'm gonna go with the six slicer. Just awesome. Amazing. It really doesn't get old, guys. Like, this is just as incredible as my first pizza in here. Just so incredible. Grateful to be making this with you guys. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
We'll get to those and then we'll call it a wrap.
What flour do you use?
Great question. What flour do we use? Organic bread flour for our 72-hour dough, our 3-day dough. We just prefer organic over anything else, less chemicals inside, and we use this flour is from centralmilling.com. It's their high mountain, high gluten flour, which is equivalent to, say, a King Arthur bread flour. Awesome.
What happens when you turn the broiler off? What do you do?
Oh, good question. So after 2 minutes, I turn this boiler off. I know the oven enough, it goes off pretty quick, usually within like 10 or 15 seconds. And it was off, and we flirted with getting a little too dark here. A little flirting, but I like it. I like the color. Anybody else?
What were the 2 cheeses you used?
2 cheeses were a whole milk, low moisture mozzarella that we shredded, hand shredded, and Wonder Shredder. And then this was a Parmesan Reggiano, was this aged 25 months or something like that. Whole Foods, expensive, but this is a great like layering of the flavors like over the sauce and then on top of the sauce too. It's really nice. And this lasts a long time too.
Do you use any sweetener in the dough?
No sweetener, thyme. We use thyme in our dough because thyme helps the flavors develop, and you can do it quick with sugar, make a same day dough. The glutens are really tough on our system to handle, but the long fermented doughs, the glutens break down, making this much easier and much better to digest. Awesome.
When would you add pepperoni to that?
Ooh, when would I add pepperoni to the pizza? At the same time, after I cheesed it, I would just toss some pepperoni on there. And it's really nice. Nice time. Good time. Good time. Pepperoni.
Tell us about your slicer.
This here will be available at Stoughton from Baking Steel soon. It's called a pizza rocker. We're waiting for our delivery. Hopefully real soon. We'll link up to it. They're awesome. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for being here. You guys rock. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to our channel, and we hope you liked the video. Thank you.